Now, as we dive into tax time, it's crucial for small business owners to stay vigilant against tax scams. New research from CommBank reveals that almost a third of Australians fail to spot a tax scam, despite many believing they can identify them all. Joining me now is Luke Achterstraat, the Chief Executive of COSBOA and representing the Cyber Wardens Initiative, to discuss how business owners can protect themselves. Luke, welcome to you.
G'day, Koshi.
Now, CommBank's research shows that only 69% of Australians over 18 could identify a scam. That's a worry, isn't it?
That's exactly right, Koshi. The research really shines a light on the threat that we're facing at the moment. You know, cyber criminals, hackers, scammers have become quite sophisticated in recent years, and there's a fair bit of unawareness out there in the marketplace. We're looking to shine a light on that today and really draw it to people's attention.
So what are some of the tactics that these scammers are using?
Some of the tactics are quite sophisticated, but some of the tactics include things like phone calls, emails, impersonating different agencies. So we call this phishing, people sending you an email saying, hey, it's the ATO here, please click on this link. It might be people, particularly here at tax time, impersonating your bookkeeper or your accountant. So it can be quite subtle, can be quite crafty. Use of social media as well. And the more time we spend on our devices, unfortunately, there's more avenues for these cyber criminals to act.
So they're the primary targets, are they? Your bookkeeper or your finance people?
Particularly at tax time at the moment, we're calling this hacking season because we know that small businesses are really flat out. End of financial year, as you and your viewers would know, 100 things to do, your tax return, compliance, BAS statement. Small businesses are a little bit more stretched, a bit thin on the ground, and potentially a little bit more vulnerable to these crafty and more sophisticated cyber criminals.
So what are your top tips for business owners just to, put up their guard and protect themselves?
Diligence, diligence and diligence really is the key message that's come out of the research. Have an understanding of what you do and don't know. Cyberwardens.com.au is our online platform where you can receive free training. So put your hand up and don't be embarrassed if you think, look, I'm not a techie, I'm not a IT whiz kid, but jump on that program. And things like password management, things like device management, things like using the cloud as well. I don't know about you, Koshi, but also the amount of times I have hit snooze on my system updates and I've deferred that. You're actually putting yourself at threat there as well. So some of those practical measures, making sure your team are abiding by those principles, can have a huge impact at this time of year.
Password protection's so important, isn't it? Not just today, but also other older accounts that may not be being used at the moment that could almost be a backdoor into your current system. Delete, get rid of all those old accounts.
Koshi, the research we've done, the amount of people who actually have their passwords on Post-it notes on their laptop or their computer, it's quite a scary figure. Almost half of the people we canvassed are still doing some of these outdated routines, some of these what we call bad habits. Bad cyber hygiene. Password management is a big one. Don't use your daughter's name. Use something a little bit more sophisticated. Make it long, make it strong, make it complex, because your password is actually the digital key into your premise.
But you have so many passwords. These password managers, are they the key to this? How secure are they?
We definitely recommend people use password managers. That can take some of the human error, some of the complexity out there, but definitely good to look for, more well-known providers. There's certainly a lot of product there on the market. So certainly some of the more well-known brands would be the ones that we would recommend people look at, but also some of the human error here, Koshi, too. Don't share your passwords. You don't share your work pass, you don't share your car keys. Your password is yours and yours alone.
Is it a generational thing as well? Are older employees being targeted by these scammers? And is that something that, as a business owner, we need to really bring older employees along for the ride?
I think it's a fair call, Koshi. Certainly the research indicates that no one really is left alone in this space. Hackers, cyber criminals cast a pretty wide net. They try to go far and wide to really see who's out there and see who's vulnerable, but certainly older Australians, senior Australians, who may not be up to speed on training, we should be sensitive to that. They may not be across latest technological developments, but certainly young people, so-called digital natives, who live their life on their iPhones, their iPads, they are as vulnerable, if not more so, given the amount of time that they spend in the digital realm.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, AI, artificial intelligence, how the scammers using that to attack us.
Well, isn't this just proof that everyone is using AI? You know, AI is so pervasive now.
Yep.
And the way that they're using AI, you know, I think we all know the stereotypical hack from the 1990s and the 2000s, you know, the email from the African prince letting you know that you've won the lottery and just put your BSB in here, sir, and, you know.
Yeah, we used to get that on fax, though, didn't we?
Yeah, that scam is a classic for a reason, right? But the artificial intelligence is actually allowing these scammers to mimic the language, the tone, and the cadence of people like the ATO, people like MyGov. You might have seen some scam emails where there's an ATO logo and it looks, 85, 90% accurate, but there's just something slightly wrong.
Yep.
Or the account number is just slightly wrong. You know, the amount of anecdotes we hear from small businesses saying, I received an invoice from a person and they changed the font. And I rang up that person and said, you know, you normally used Times New Roman font. This is slightly different. What's going on? So these hackers, they're using any tool out there to make slight adjustments and to really coax you into a sense of security.
Yep, absolutely. Luke, some great insights. Really appreciate you sharing them with us.
Great.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.